Okay, so in this video tutorial, I'm going to take you through the steps of making what we call spirit cards using watercolor and a little bit of salt. We're going to need a little bit of tissue. So let me just kind of tell you what you're going to need here. We've got our watercolors. We have some water. I want you to have about 3 different size brushes. So this is like a 1-inch wide brush, a flat brush. I've got like a medium round brush and a small round brush. We're going to use this, all 3 of these as we get going. Got my little bit of salt, got some tissue paper. And the first thing that we're going to want to do, of course, is to go ahead and get our watercolors activating. So I'm just going to dip my large brush into the water and just start to put water. I'm going to put them in pretty much all the pails because this is going to be a very, very colorful painting. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm just going to talk to you. You're going to need 2 brushes for this activity. You're going to need one hue brush, which is basically a brush just for the color, and then you're going to need one that is going to be for water, and you're going to use those 2 brushes in the first step here, so make sure that you have those ready. So you're going to see what we do with both of those here in just a second. Okay, so I've got my 15 by 11 inch size paper and I'm ready to get started. So the first thing that I want to remember is just to try to have fun with this. Just try to relax. This isn't supposed to be anything in particular. We're just playing with brushstrokes. We're playing with the different materials. We're mixing bold, beautiful colors, because later this is going to be cut up into little rectangle sizes to make these what we call spirit cards, and you'll see what that looks like later on at the end. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take 3 colors. We're going to take red, orange, and yellow, and using your large your large 1-inch brush, okay, I want you to just get a little bit of water on your brush. And you're just going to make 3 strokes, kind of curved strokes that just kind of go across like this. And if that's too light, you can get a little bit more. Just take it back through. If you want it even darker, you can go a little bit darker. Remember, try not to go past about 50% opacity. So there's one. Now I'm going to work on my orange. So I'm going to just take off a little bit of water on my paintbrush because I have my orange activated, and here I go with my orange. Okay, and clean that off. I'm going to go with my yellow. Some students say, do I have to use these colors? Can I use other colors? I mean, you can. I'm trying to just use big, bold, bright colors. I think you're going to, most students like it at the end when you've got these nice bright colors on there. Okay, so we've got these 3 colors and they're still wet. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to take a water brush. In this case, I'm using my round brush. I'm going to get that wet really well. And right at the edge of my curves, I'm just going to put some water. I'm going to watch the water on top float. See how it's kind of floating down into that? I'm going to do that on all 3 of these. So you're going to have to act fast so it doesn't dry up. In fact, I probably should have had you do this as you were painting each color, and I guess I just got ahead of myself and I forgot, but anyway. So I like to just kind of keep adding a little water till it just kind of flows down. So you have like a nice crisp edge on top, but then you have this cool kind of flowy blended edge on the bottom. Makes for a nice effect. And this just kind of gives you the practice of getting kind of like a really cool blend with the water and just kind of watching how it travels, okay? So when we have those 3 done, the next thing that we want to do, excuse me, is we want to, we're going to paint some rectangles now. I'm going to use a blue, and I'm going to stick with my medium-sized brush, okay? I'm going to take off just a little bit of that water, just a little bit, because I have a nice little puddle over here. And you can use, just the straight up blue, or you can use the blue-green or the blue-violet, whichever one suits you. And you're going to do 3 rectangles. You can put those anywhere on your paper. Okay, you could even do them different sizes. And when you do this, you're going to clean your brush off, have just water, and along the outside, you're going to do the same thing that you did with the curves, is just along the outside, you're going to paint a line of water and watch the water expand outward. You can even just kind of take it out a little bit. So you want just the white on the inside of your rectangles, okay? Just kind of like that, okay? So there's one rectangle. I'm going to do another one. I have quite a large puddle in my blue pail, so I'm going to be a little bit careful of that. I'm going to paint one over here, maybe a little bit bigger. And I'm going to do the same thing. Just some water, just kind of take it out a little bit. It's kind of muddy. If I'm mixing in two complementary colors like I am over here, the blue and the orange, then, you know, I don't want to rub it too much with my brush. I don't want the colors to get kind of muddy. Remember, you're trying to keep that water on the outside. Okay? And then you just kind of take that color and just kind of expand it out a little bit. Just remember, you're just kind of playing around and you're having fun with this. It shouldn't be any particular way. Okay, and then I've got one more to do. So again, taking off the majority of the water of my brush because I have quite a large pail. I'm just going to put maybe a smaller one down there. Same thing. Water on the outside of your rectangle will act as sort of like a vehicle for the rest of your paint to just kind of catch on to that and continue outward, okay? Just like that. All right. So you should have 3 rectangles that are kind of blurry on the outside and hard edged on the inside. Okay, the next step is to paint 3 purple circles. We're going to use the salt for this, okay? So we're going to paint 3 purple circles. They can be various sizes if you want to. They can be the same size. I wouldn't make them too small because we're going to sprinkle some salt right on top of there as they are wet, okay? So again, I've got my purple activated already, so I'm going to take off a lot of the drip on my brush, and I'm just going to dip my brush into, oops, excuse me, sorry, there we go. And I'm going to find a spot. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to paint a, ooh, that is super dark. So I'm going to clean my brush off and just bring water now. There we go. Just get some of that in there. Right on the inside. Okay, and as it's wet, taking some salt, I'm going to sprinkle it right on top. And so what you're going to see is that the water is going to absorb the pigment as it dries and leave little sparkly white specks. There's one. I'm going to do another one like right over here. Ooh, it's right on top of yellow, which means it's probably going to turn a little grayish, but that's okay. If I act fast, another circle, a little bit of salt, like we're cooking. I'm going to put one maybe right over here. Some students will say, can I overlap my circle onto my rectangles? You can, but be mindful that we are going to paint something inside the rectangles a little later on. So if you overlap, that's fine. Just leave some space, okay? Leave some space inside those rectangles. There we go. And a little bit more. Okay, so those are the first 3 steps. I'm going to stop there. And in the next video, we're going to continue with 3 more steps, and we're probably going to be using tissue. So if you don't have tissue handy, make sure you take this moment between videos to get yourself a piece of tissue handy, because we're going to be working with that here in just a little bit.